The name is Rick Drogo. I don't need promo. 1v4. I'll knock your whole squad solo. If you want to be great, you got to do great things. That could be simple. I'm not saying you need to go out and stop a war from happening or win a war. Maybe you just need to be a good parent. That's great. That's a great thing to do. Maybe you just need to be the best at your job. That's great. I mean, you can be great at anything. You can be content at being great at anything. It's your heart's desire. And I'm just trying to be great today. I'm trying to be great in the lives of my family and those around me. I want to inspire and nourish, protect, and provide for people around me. I want to be successful and help you be successful. That's how I'm trying to be great today. I'm also not going to skip my cardio. One thing about me, I'm going to get my steps in. And we're closing in near the end of the night, and I'm making it happen. So, sorry if it's a distraction. Hopefully you can't hear it. And my breathing, we're just going to work with it. I've been walking now for 30 minutes almost. Welcome to Crash the Party, Cardio Edition, Walk With Me Edition. Come on, take this walk with me down political lane, where one side says something and the other side says that they're lying and that their side is saying and the other side is saying that's the same. I'm not about to start rapping. What I am going to do is take a look at this video. We're going to try to figure out I wanted to look into the election fraud. And so this is just the beginning of me looking into it, because I heard Trump talk about it a lot. And I want to say, I think that was like 2020. And then I think I heard people say that he stole this last election. So we're going to watch a quick video, 6 minutes. It is CNN posted this video. It's called Debunking Donald Trump's Voter Fraud Conspiracy. It's 6 minutes long. So we don't have to waste any time. Let's crash this party and check it out.
You know, voter fraud is a lot like Al Capone's vault. Lots of hype, but not much, actually in there. In late May, Texas Secretary of State David Whitley resigned after his attempt to scrub the Lone Star State's voter rolls of non-citizens turned out to be a total and complete disaster. Now, Whitley had tagged almost 100,000 voters who his office believed might not, in fact, be eligible to vote in the state. Except that 25,000 of those people, and likely many more, had been wrongly flagged and were in fact citizens. Whoops, I just missed that one. Texas state officials eventually agreed to end Whitley's quest in order to settle a series of lawsuits brought by some of those 25,000 people who had been identified as potential non-citizens. Of course, even then, the state was left with $450,000 in costs for Whitley's wild goose chase. Good times. So why should you care? Because this debacle in Texas isn't an isolated.
See, my problem with all this is I don't get any real facts. I mean, he's saying this was debunked and that was debunked, but it's all just a bunch of words to me. I don't believe this guy. Let me see something. Let me ask Grok a question. Is CNN biased? Pretty simple. Yes, CNN exhibits a consistent left-leaning bias. According to multiple independent media bias rating organizations, this doesn't mean every story is fabricated. CNN often produces factual reporting, especially on straight news, but its editorial choices, story selection, framing, omission of certain angles, and opinion programming tilt left. Okay.
Incident. Far from it. Republicans at the state and national levels, chief among them President Donald Trump, have been pushing the idea that there is widespread voter fraud being committed by Democrats in elections across the country. And for years, they've been unable to provide any evidence to back up those claims, which is not beneficial to democracy. And by not beneficial, I mean it's really, really bad. While the idea of voter fraud has been a topic of much debate on conservative websites and message boards, and yes, message boards still exist on the internet, for years, Trump's candidacy and presidency have no doubt supercharged it. Quote, the election is absolutely being rigged by the dishonest and distorted media pushing crooked Hillary, but also at many polling places. Sad.
Now, I got to agree that I never heard much about election fraud that I can remember until this specific election with Trump when he lost. And one thing that I do have a problem with is that some states don't require you to have an ID to vote. Is that right? Let me ask Grok. Do you have to have an ID to vote for the president? No, there's no uniform national requirement for ID to vote for president. 36 states require some form of ID. 24 states require photo ID. 12 states accept non-photo. 14 states do not require ID. That's crazy.
Donald Trump tweeted in October 2016.
They even want to try to rig the election at the polling booths. And believe me, there's a lot going on. People that have died 10 years ago are still voting. Illegal immigrants are voting. So many cities are corrupt, and voter fraud is very, very common.
Then, of course, Trump won the election, which you might think would stop him from insisting the whole election was rigged. But you would be wrong. Less than 3 weeks after beating Hillary Clinton, even while losing the popular vote by almost 3 million, Trump took to Twitter to argue that millions of illegal votes had been cast. Quote, in addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally, Trump tweeted at the end of November 2016. Then, days after he was sworn in, Trump hosted a bipartisan group of lawmakers at the White House where, according to the Washington Post, he told them he would have won the popular vote if 3 to 5 million illegal votes had not been cast for Clinton. And he provided, stop me if you've heard this before, zero evidence to back up that massive controversial claim.
One of the guys who watches the show commented and said he believes that Trump was actually never supposed to win. He was only running in collaboration with Hillary to get her to win, thinking he would be a shoo-in of, an opposing person running, that everybody would obviously vote for Hillary, because who would vote for this guy? And they underestimated the what should I say? They did not exactly think that he would win, and That boy won. Which is a very interesting theory, which isn't far off from, what could definitely happen. In fact, that'd be interesting to look into if there was some data on that or videos, Because, as far as I know, he was close with the Clintons,
In May 2017, Trump put the official weight of the White House behind this conspiracy theory, announcing that he had issued an executive order establishing the Presidential Commission on Election Integrity, with Vice President Mike Pence as chairman and noted vote fraud purveyor Chris Kobach as vice chair.
There's a lot of talk about voter fraud and whether voter fraud happens out there anymore. And the truth is that voter fraud is a violation of the right of every American.
Within a year, the commission had been disbanded. Now, Trump blamed the failure on the unwillingness of states to hand over proprietary voter information, insisting that there was still, quote, substantial evidence of voter fraud, end quote. Now, the problem with that claim by Trump is, well, it isn't true, at least according to Maine's Secretary of State. Quote, I have reviewed the commission documents made available to me, and they do not contain evidence of widespread voter fraud, wrote Matthew Dunlap, a Democrat, in a letter to Kobach and Pence that was obtained by CNN. Now, sidebar, Kobach's crusade for voter integrity has not exactly translated into political victory. In fact, Kobach lost the 2018 governor's race in Kansas to a Democrat, despite Kansas being one of the most conservative states in the country. Now, that finding, or lack of a finding, by the president's committee is consistent with a series of studies that make clear there is no evidence of widespread coordinated election fraud. Here's one. Loyola Law School professor Justin Levitt tracked U.S. elections from 2000 to 2014 in search of voter fraud, or, as he put it, quote, specific, credible allegation that someone may have pretended to be someone else at the polls. Levitt found 31 such instances out of more than 1 billion, yes, billion with a B, votes cast. 31 out of a billion. Here's another study, a 5-year one on voter fraud that was commissioned by George W. Bush's administration that reached that same conclusion back in 2007. Wrote the New York Times at the time of the study, quote, the Justice Department has turned up virtually no evidence of any organized effort to skew federal elections, end quote. Now, none of this has stopped Trump from continuing to claim or insinuate that Democrats are somehow stealing elections.
A lot of people, my opinion, and based on proof, that try and get in illegally and actually vote illegally. So we just want to let them know that there will be prosecutions at the highest level.
So, on the one side, we have a series of studies making clear that widespread voter fraud simply isn't a thing. On the other, we have Republican politicians led by the President of the United States arguing, without any evidence, that voter fraud is clear and present as a danger to democracy. These two arguments are not equal. One is backed by facts and evidence. The other is a conspiracy theory. And that is the point.
All right. Well, if you disagree with that, let me hear about it in the comments. If you can show me a video that says otherwise and it breaks it down really well for us, send me the link. I don't know if you can put stuff like that in the comments, but you could always send it to me on Instagram as a direct message, or on X at Rick Drogo. And I'd love to check it out because I'm going to keep looking into this a little bit more because there have been some real claims made. But he makes a good point. No real evidence has been laid out that I know of, or, that I have seen yet. So I'd love to check it out. But that's it for now. Thanks for crashing the party with me. I just love doing it, checking in, seeing exactly what's going on, trying to find my bearings in this political landscape nowadays, trying to see where I land. And right now, I'm just here, I was raised in a Republican house and just always kind of thought that's what I was, but I'm learning it's a lot more complicated than that. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I love you so much, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.